Hello, wonderful people. I hope you guys are all doing well. Before we start, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel if you like these kind of videos. Also, let us know where are you guys listening us from. Okay then, let's begin. Batman, Gotham's dark and enigmatic protector, is a figure whose influence permeates the very fabric of the city he swore to defend. For years, we viewed Batman as a singular, complex character, a man who operates in the shadows, driven by personal trauma and an unyielding sense of justice. But what if Batman is not just a hero, but a psychological projection of Gotham itself? What if Batman's existence and actions are a reflection of the city's inner turmoil, fears, and desires? Gotham, a city plagued by crime, corruption, and decay, mirrors many of the qualities we associate with Batman: darkness, fear, and an intense need for control. As Gotham's protector, Batman confronts the chaos, but in doing so he also embodies it. Could it be that Gotham's need for order, justice, and protection is so deeply ingrained that the city manifested a psychological projection of itself in the form of Batman? The Dark Knight may not only be fighting for Gotham, he may be fighting against the very darkness the city represents. The creation of Batman, a mirror of Gotham Cip's struggles. At the heart of Batman's origin is a traumatic event: the murder of his parents. This moment of violence shapes his entire life, just as Gotham itself has been shaped by years of violence and corruption. Bruce Wayne, a young boy, watches as his world is shattered in an instant, much like Gotham, which has witnessed its soul being broken by years of injustice and criminal rule. Batman's quest to restore order, control, and justice in Gotham could be seen as a direct response to the city's own desperate need for these things. Gotham's crime and corruption run so deep that they seem to have a life of their own, almost as if they are intrinsic to the city's existence. Batman's existence, then, is a psychological projection of Gotham's darkest desires. The city itself cries out for a savior, and in response, Bruce Wayne creates Batman, a figure whose identity is not only a reflection of his personal loss, but of Gotham's own fractured soul. The trauma Bruce experiences echoes the trauma Gotham endures, and in creating Batman, Bruce may unknowingly be manifesting a force that is just as much a part of the city as it is a part of him. Batman, in essence, becomes an extension of Gotham's psyche, a reflection of its desires and fears. Gotham is a city that thrives on chaos, crime, and corruption. The very essence of its identity is rooted in these destructive forces. Batman, in his relentless pursuit of justice, is Gotham's own projection of a need for order, a way to counterbalance the chaos that has consumed it. He is both the city's protector and a symbol of the darkness that Gotham cannot escape. Gotham Cip's inner conflict. Batman, as the city Cip's conscience. Batman's struggle is not just his own, it is Gotham's struggle. Gotham, like Batman, is torn between two forces: the desire for justice and order, and the pull of its own inherent darkness. Batman becomes the conscience of Gotham, fighting to impose order on a city that resists it. He is a psychological projection of the city's internal battle, a man who constantly teeters between light and darkness, between hope and despair. Just as Gotham's criminal underworld thrives on fear and chaos, Batman's identity is built on these same principles. His fear of losing control, his need to impose order, and his willingness to confront the city's darkest elements are all part of Gotham's psyche. Batman is a symbol of the city's contradictions. He is both its hero and its shadow, a reflection of Gotham's own inability to reconcile its past with its potential for redemption. This psychological duality is evident in Batman's interactions with Gotham's criminals. Many of his most dangerous foes, such as the Joker, are extensions of the city's madness. The Joker, with his chaotic nature, is a direct reflection of the anarchy that has consumed Gotham for years. Batman, with his obsession with order and control, stands in stark contrast, but both are necessary for the city's narrative. Without the chaos represented by figures like the Joker, Batman would have no purpose. In this sense, Gotham cannot exist without both Batman and its villains, as they represent two sides of the same psychological coin. Batman as a psychological manifestation of Gotham's fear. One of the most interesting aspects of Batman's character is his use of fear. He dresses in dark, intimidating armor, and he strikes terror into the hearts of criminals. Fear is his weapon, and it's a weapon that Gotham itself has learned to wield. The city is a place where fear reigns, from the crime-ridden streets to the corrupt institutions that govern it. Gotham's residents live in fear of the criminals that rule the streets, and Batman, in turn, uses their fear as a tool to reclaim control. Batman's own fear of failure and of losing control is deeply intertwined with Gotham's own fear of destruction. Gotham's history is filled with violence, corruption, and suffering, factors that have shaped the city's collective psyche. Batman's persona, his very existence, can be seen as Gotham's way of confronting its darkest fears. Just as Batman uses fear to control his enemies, Gotham has, over the years, used fear to control its citizens, perpetuating a cycle of fear that is difficult to break. In this sense, Batman is both a manifestation of Gotham's fear and the city's attempt to overcome it. He is a reflection of the darkness that plagues Gotham, but he also serves as a beacon of hope. Batman's identity, much like Gotham's, is defined by this duality. He is the city's protector and its shadow, a hero and a symbol of the very darkness he seeks to eradicate. Gotham's attempt to reconcile its fear with its need for justice finds its expression in Batman, who, despite his best efforts, remains a product of that same fear. Batman as Gotham's repressed psyche. The struggle between good and evil. At a deeper psychological level, Batman could be viewed as Gotham's repressed psyche, a force that battles against the evil and corruption that have been allowed to flourish. Gotham's history is filled with suffering, betrayal, and crime, and Batman's creation is a response to the city's own repressed desires to overcome these dark forces. Batman represents the city's attempt to face its deepest fears and confront the demons that have plagued it for years. But in this battle, Batman is not merely an agent of good. He is a reflection of Gotham's own fractured moral compass. His refusal to kill, his reliance on fear, and his obsessive need to control Gotham's fate all speak to the darker aspects of the city's psyche. Gotham's desire for justice is rooted in its past, and Batman's role in this desire reflects the city's struggle to reconcile its past with its future. In a way, Batman becomes the city's ultimate defense mechanism. Just as the mind creates projections to protect itself from trauma, Gotham's psyche creates Batman to protect the city from its own darkness. Batman is the personification of Gotham's fight for survival, a struggle that is as much internal as it is external. The city's need for Batman is not just because of the criminals who roam its streets, but because Gotham itself is a city struggling to face its own psychological wounds. The final battle, Gotham's journey toward redemption. In the end, Batman's role as a psychological projection of Gotham itself raises the question of whether Gotham can ever truly heal. Can a city so deeply entrenched in fear and corruption ever escape its own darkness? Batman, as a product of Gotham's psyche, is both the city's greatest weapon and its greatest reflection. His battle for Gotham's future is ultimately a battle for the city's soul, one that will require more than just fighting crime. It will require Gotham to confront its own fears, to face the darkness within, and to strive for redemption. Batman, in his struggle to overcome Gotham's flaws, becomes a symbol of both the city's potential and its limitations. His fight is not just against crime, it is against the very essence of Gotham's psyche. Whether Gotham can ever truly overcome its darkness remains uncertain, but as long as Batman exists as a symbol of hope, the city will continue to fight. In that sense, Batman is not just Gotham's protector, he is its reflection, its shadow, and in many ways, its redemption. As we continue to explore the idea that Batman may be a psychological projection of Gotham itself, we begin to unravel how deeply intertwined Batman's existence is with the very fabric of the city. The essence of Gotham, the corruption, the chaos, the suffering, reflects the internal conflict that Bruce Wayne faces within himself. Gotham, much like Bruce, is a city defined by trauma, fear, and an overwhelming need to regain control. Batman, in a sense, is Gotham's psychological coping mechanism, a manifestation of the city's need to confront its past and reshape its future. Batman as Gotham SIP's idealized protector, a response to the city SIP's powerlessness. Batman, in many ways, is an idealized version of the protector Gotham believes it needs. The city, with its sprawling crime and rampant corruption, is a place where law enforcement and the political systems have long failed to protect its citizens. In this environment, Gotham, through its collective subconscious, creates Batman, a figure who embodies the strength and control that the city so desperately lacks. Gotham's idealized vision of a protector is not someone who can be swayed by emotion or hindered by bureaucracy. Batman is the embodiment of the city's repressed desires. He is a symbol of unyielding strength, discipline, and a strict moral code. But Batman is not just an idealized protector. He is also a figure of deep contradiction, representing both the city's hopes for order and the darkness that has long been entrenched within it. Gotham's psyche creates a protector who is not just physically imposing, but psychologically complex, embodying the city's fears and desires in one figure. The Batman persona reflects Gotham's need for a singular force who can right the wrongs of the city, someone who can stand against the forces of chaos with an unwavering resolve. Yet Batman's existence also highlights Gotham's own inability to provide that protection without an external force. Gotham's failure to protect its own citizens, to heal its wounds, gives rise to the need for a larger-than-life figure to step in, a figure who is not only a product of Gotham's fears, but of its deepest aspirations. The duality of Gotham SIP's psyche, Batman as both savior and destroyer. Gotham's need for Batman is not just rooted in its need for protection. It is also tied to the city's need to confront its own darkness. Gotham's psychological makeup is marked by duality, the simultaneous presence of good and evil, order and chaos, light and dark. Batman, as Gotham's protector, must constantly navigate this duality, as his very existence is built on the conflict between these two forces. Batman's identity is rooted in his personal tragedy, the death of his parents, and his mission to restore justice to a world that feels fundamentally broken. Gotham's residents, too, live in a city where they are caught between these dual forces. The good people of Gotham long for peace, justice, and safety, but they are continually reminded that their city is defined by crime, corruption, and violence. Gotham's psyche, then, projects Batman as a necessary force to confront this duality, someone who can impose order while simultaneously battling the chaos that defines the city's existence. But this duality also has its consequences. Just as Gotham needs Batman to maintain order, it also needs him to confront the darkness within. Gotham's criminals, the Joker, Two-Face, Bane, and others, are not just villains in the traditional sense. They represent the city's psychological fractures. They are the embodiments of Gotham's own repressed desires and fears, pushing Batman to face the very darkness he is trying to prevent. In this sense, Batman is both a savior and a destroyer. He may protect the city, but in doing so, he must confront its darkest impulses. Gotham cannot evolve or heal without confronting the evil within itself, and Batman, as a psychological projection of that need, is the city's agent of both salvation and destruction. Gotham's heroes and villains alike are intricately tied to this duality, and Batman, more than any other figure in Gotham, must grapple with the consequences of this internal conflict. Batman and Gotham SIP's constant need for control. Another critical aspect of Batman's role as Gotham's psychological projection is the city's constant need for control. Gotham, much like Batman, is a place of deep instability, one where the forces of crime, corruption, and violence are ever present. In the same way that Batman seeks to impose order through fear and discipline, Gotham's psyche desires control over the forces that threaten it. Batman's relentless pursuit of justice, his obsessive need to control the criminal element, mirrors Gotham's own need for control over its fate. The city, unable to cope with the chaos on its own, projects the need for a singular figure who can impose the order it desperately craves. Batman's ability to control Gotham's streets, his precise tactics and planning, reflect the city's desire for stability in an environment that is inherently unstable. But Gotham's need for control is also its greatest flaw. The city's obsession with order, coupled with its deep fear of chaos, creates a cycle of repression and denial. The more Gotham seeks to control its darkness, the more it becomes entangled in it. Batman's role in this sense is not only to confront Gotham's enemies, but also to grapple with the city's own psychological limitations. Batman's fight for Gotham is, in many ways, a battle against the city's own inability to let go of the fear that drives its need for control. Gotham cannot heal until it learns to embrace its imperfections and confront the darkness that exists within it. Batman is Gotham SIP's repressed moral compass. Batman's role can also be seen as Gotham's repressed moral compass. The city, with all its corruption and crime, has long lacked a strong sense of morality. Its institutions are compromised, its leaders often corrupt, and its citizens living in fear. Batman, then, is the city's way of confronting its lack of moral clarity, a projection of Gotham's deep-seated need for justice and redemption. However, Batman's moral code, his refusal to kill, his obsession with justice, and his focus on protecting Gotham is not always clear-cut. His very existence forces Gotham to reckon with its own moral failures. Batman's mission, driven by his personal code, challenges the city to confront the flaws in its own moral fabric. His refusal to kill, his insistence on rehabilitating criminals, and his unyielding quest for justice force Gotham to look at its own capacity for mercy and retribution. At the same time, Batman's extreme methods, his isolation, his use of fear, and his willingness to operate outside the law, reveal the darker side of Gotham's psyche. Batman may represent Gotham's moral compass, but his methods, shaped by the city's own darkness, show that Gotham's approach to justice is not without flaws. Batman's moral code, though rooted in a desire for righteousness, is ultimately shaped by the same darkness that defines the city. Batman, as the embodiment of Gotham's need for self-restraint, one of the most striking aspects of Batman's role in Gotham's psychological projection is his embodiment of the city's need for self-restraint. Gotham, a city plagued by excess, whether in crime, corruption, or social decay, struggles to maintain balance. The city is often in conflict with itself, a desire for progress, fighting against a long-standing legacy of darkness. Batman, with his strict moral code, refusal to kill, and reliance on discipline, represents Gotham's unconscious desire for restraint. This need for self-control manifests in Batman's actions. He imposes limits on himself, pushing against his own darker impulses, which mirror Gotham's own struggles with its excessive tendencies. The city's violent history, often fed by greed, vengeance, and corruption, can only be corrected through Batman's dedication to restraint. His constant refusal to act as judge, jury, and executioner. This creates a direct link between Batman and Gotham's potential for moral growth. Just as Batman wrestles with his own inner demons, Gotham must wrestle with its own excesses and flaws. However, this self-restraint comes with consequences. Batman's limitations, his unwillingness to cross certain lines, to take decisive action when it might be necessary, often leave room for Gotham's darkness to seep through. The very qualities that make Batman a symbol of moral fortitude are also what make him vulnerable. Gotham's inability to truly embrace its own limitations results in Batman's continuous struggle. The city can never fully heal while it continues to deny its own need for restraint. Batman sips psychological complexities. Gotham sips unresolved trauma. Batman is not just the protector of Gotham, he is also a product of it. His psychological makeup reflects the city's unresolved trauma, the trauma of loss, violence, and the inability to escape the cycle of suffering. Batman's fight against crime is personal, but it is also symbolic of Gotham's inability to break free from its past. The traumatic event that shaped Batman's life, the murder of his parents, parallels the trauma Gotham experiences every day as it struggles to rise above the violence and corruption that define its existence. Gotham, as a city, is locked in a cycle of trauma. It has suffered at the hands of criminals, corrupt politicians, and a broken system. Just as Batman's personal trauma drives him to become a vigilante, Gotham's collective trauma pushes it toward chaos. The city's inability to heal fully is reflected in Batman's own struggle with his past. His unresolved grief and guilt shape every decision he makes, just as Gotham's unresolved issues shape the way it operates. Batman's mission to protect the city is not just about righting the wrongs of Gotham's criminals. It is about addressing the city's repressed trauma. Every villain Batman faces is a manifestation of Gotham's internal struggles. The Joker, for instance, represents the chaos that has always lurked beneath Gotham's surface, while figures like Two-Face embody the city's fractured moral compass. By confronting these villains, Batman is not just fighting against external threats, he is battling the internalized fears, guilt, and pain that Gotham has never fully dealt with. Gotham sips need for Batman, a reflection of its lack of self-esteem. Another aspect of Gotham's projection of Batman is its deep-seated need for validation and its inability to see its own worth. Gotham, a city built on a foundation of corruption and failure, struggles with self-esteem. It often believes that it is beyond saving, that it is doomed to repeat the same patterns of violence and injustice. In this sense, Batman represents Gotham's unconscious belief that it needs an external force to validate its potential for good. Gotham believes that it cannot redeem itself without a figure like Batman, someone who will show the world that the city can be more than just a symbol of failure. This psychological need for validation is at the core of Batman's identity. Batman's existence, his desire to protect Gotham, and his constant battle against crime are in part driven by Gotham's own inability to believe in its worth. Gotham needs Batman to believe in it, to give it the sense of importance that it lacks. Batman's tireless efforts to protect Gotham, despite the city's overwhelming darkness, serve as a reflection of the city's desperate need for a savior, someone who can show it that redemption is possible. However, this reliance on an external savior is also part of the city's flaw. Gotham cannot truly heal until it learns to believe in its own worth and power. Batman may continue to protect the city, but his influence will only go so far if Gotham cannot learn to value itself. The cycle of dependence that Gotham has on Batman creates a barrier to true growth, just as Batman's own struggle with self-worth prevents him from fully healing. Batman's struggle to break free from Gotham's psychological chains. Ultimately, Batman's journey is one of self-realization, both for himself and for the city he protects. As Gotham's psychological projection, Batman is bound by the city's trauma, fear, and unresolved issues. His fight against crime is in many ways a battle to break free from the chains that Gotham has placed on him. Gotham's inability to escape its own darkness is mirrored in Batman's inability to fully escape the trauma of his past. The city's collective struggle to heal becomes his personal struggle, and vice versa. In many ways, Batman's quest for justice is a quest for his own redemption. He cannot be fully at peace with Gotham unless the city itself finds a way to heal. But this is where the psychological projection of Batman becomes complex. Gotham cannot heal until it lets go of its dependence on Batman. The city's need for Batman to impose order and control mirrors its inability to believe in itself. Batman must, in essence, help Gotham confront its own darkness, not by continuing to fight its battles for it, but by showing Gotham that it has the power to rise above its past. Batman and Gotham, the endless cycle of reflection and transformation. The relationship between Batman and Gotham is one of constant reflection and transformation. Batman, as Gotham's projection, is both its greatest protector and its most significant challenge. He embodies the city's darkness, but also its hope. He represents the potential for order, but he is also shaped by Gotham's internal chaos. Gotham's transformation is inextricably linked to Batman's own growth. The city cannot truly change unless it recognizes that its salvation lies not in external figures, but in its own capacity for self-healing and transformation. Batman's struggle, then, is not just against the criminal underworld, it is a struggle for Gotham's soul. Whether the city can break free from the psychological chains that bind it is yet to be determined, but as long as Batman exists as both protector and reflection of the city's psyche, the battle will continue. Gotham and Batman are two sides of the same coin, forever linked in a struggle for justice, redemption, and ultimately, peace. Gotham's need for Batman, the reflection of an unresolved identity. At the core of Gotham's reliance on Batman lies the city's unresolved identity. Gotham, as a city, lacks a cohesive sense of purpose. It is often depicted as a place on the edge of destruction, constantly battling between its desire for renewal and the weight of its dark past. This sense of instability manifests in the creation of Batman, whose role in Gotham's psyche is both to protect and to represent its fractured nature. Batman is Gotham's psychological response to its own lack of identity, a symbol of the city's struggle to define itself in the face of overwhelming chaos. Batman, much like the city, is a figure of contradictions. He is both a symbol of hope and a reflection of fear. Gotham's reliance on Batman is a reflection of its own inability to solve its problems on its own terms. The city has long struggled with questions of justice, morality, and order, issues Batman directly confronts through his vigilantism. But in his quest to fight crime and restore order, Batman is, in essence, acting out Gotham's psychological desire for structure, control, and meaning. Gotham, in creating Batman, has not only birthed its protector but also its idealized self, someone who can provide what the city feels it cannot give itself. In this way, Gotham is both the creator and the prisoner of Batman. The city's psychological need for Batman to remain its protector is the result of its inability to confront its own past and identity. As long as Gotham fails to recognize its own internal contradictions, it will continue to rely on Batman to serve as its guide. In many ways, the city's healing process cannot begin until it acknowledges that its salvation cannot depend on a singular figure, but on its own collective efforts to redefine itself. The psychological projection of Gotham Cit's villains, a mirror image. Batman's enemies are not just villains in the traditional sense. They are a reflection of Gotham's own psychological fractures. The criminals that Batman faces are embodiments of the city's darkest tendencies: corruption, madness, violence, and moral decay. Each of Gotham's most infamous villains, from the Joker to Two-Face to Scarecrow, represents a different aspect of the city's psyche, each a projection of Gotham's fears and desires. The Joker, perhaps Batman's greatest adversary, is a perfect example of Gotham's psychological mirror. He is chaotic, unpredictable, and destructive, a reflection of Gotham's own inability to escape the chaos that has long defined its streets. The Joker's nihilistic worldview stands in stark contrast to Batman's obsessive need for order. Yet, despite their differences, the Joker and Batman are intricately tied, for both represent two sides of Gotham's psyche: the dark, chaotic forces that plague the city and the obsessive, almost manic drive to impose control on them. Similarly, characters like Two-Face embody Gotham's moral duality. Two-Face's obsession with chance and his internal battle between good and evil are representative of Gotham's struggle to reconcile its history of corruption with its potential for redemption. Gotham's deeply divided moral compass is reflected in the figure of Two-Face, a villain who constantly teeters between justice and vengeance. Scarecrow, on the other hand, represents Gotham's fear itself, its constant state of anxiety and dread. His ability to manipulate fear makes him an especially poignant symbol of Gotham's internal struggle. Fear has gripped Gotham for years, and Scarecrow's existence is a manifestation of that fear, an embodiment of the terror that keeps the city trapped in its cycle of crime and despair. Each villain Batman faces is not just an external threat to the city's peace. They are reflections of Gotham's deepest psychological wounds. Batman's fight against them is not only a fight for the city's safety, but a fight against the very aspects of itself that Gotham refuses to confront. The more Batman battles these villains, the more he battles Gotham's internal struggles, struggles that cannot be resolved by simply defeating individual criminals, but by addressing the root causes of Gotham's dysfunction. Batman Cit's transformation. A reflection of Gotham Cit's healing process. As Gotham evolves, so too does Batman. His transformation from a figure consumed by fear and control to one who embraces trust, collaboration, and vulnerability mirrors the city's own journey toward healing. Gotham, like Batman, must learn to confront its past, not by burying it or pretending it does not exist, but by facing it head-on and using its flaws as stepping stones toward a better future. Batman's internal struggle, particularly his battle against his own fears, is the city's struggle as well. Gotham's dark history, filled with corruption, violence, and injustice, mirrors the trauma Batman has faced in his own life. But as Batman grows, so does the city. Gotham's path toward redemption is tied to Batman's own emotional and psychological growth. In order for Gotham to heal, it must learn to face its own darkness, just as Batman has had to confront his own. Batman's role, therefore, is not only that of a protector, but also a catalyst for the city's transformation. His journey is a symbol of the healing process that Gotham must undergo. Batman may have started as a figure of fear, but his evolution into a mentor and leader is symbolic of Gotham's own shift, from a city defined by its darkness to one striving for light. Gotham SIP's future, a city beyond its psychological chains. As Batman's influence begins to wane, Gotham faces its most significant challenge. Can it continue to evolve without the psychological projection of Batman? The city has long relied on Batman's presence to maintain order, but as Gotham grows stronger and more self-reliant, the question remains, can Gotham thrive without him? This is not just a physical absence, but a psychological one. Batman's role has always been more than that of a protector. He has been Gotham's repressed desires, its need for control, and its hope for redemption. As Gotham moves forward, it will need to embrace its own identity, to step beyond the projection of Batman as its savior, and to become the city it has always dreamed of being. The fight for Gotham's future is no longer just about fighting criminals. It is about finding the strength within itself to heal, to rebuild, and to continue without the external influence of a single figure. Gotham's future will depend on the city's ability to address its psychological fractures, its fear, its darkness, and its inherent contradictions. The people of Gotham, empowered by the lessons Batman has left behind, will have to continue the work of transformation. The collective effort of the city's citizens, its new generation of heroes, and its leaders will determine whether Gotham can finally escape its psychological chains and find true redemption. As we delve further into the intricate relationship between Batman and Gotham, it becomes increasingly evident that their fates are inextricably linked. Batman's psychological projection as Gotham's protector, while a powerful symbol of the city's desires for order and redemption, is also a reflection of Gotham's limitations. The city's struggle is far from over. Gotham's true transformation is not merely about having a protector like Batman. It's about the city learning to stand on its own, acknowledging its own internal contradictions, and confronting the deeply rooted psychological issues that have defined it for so long. The role of Gotham SIP citizens in breaking the cycle. One of the most critical aspects of Gotham's potential for true transformation is its people. Batman, as a reflection of Gotham's psychological needs, cannot remain the city's sole protector forever. While he has been the symbol of hope and justice, Gotham must evolve beyond its dependence on him. The shift away from seeing Batman as an all-encompassing figure of salvation is essential for Gotham to truly heal. The city must begin to embrace the responsibility of its own future and stop projecting its desires for justice and control onto one man. The collective strength of Gotham's citizens will ultimately determine the city's future. The people of Gotham, having witnessed the potential for change through Batman's actions, now have a responsibility to contribute to the city's recovery. Batman has shown them that they are not powerless. that they can stand up to the forces of crime, corruption, and injustice. Gotham's evolution into a city of hope will depend on the actions of its citizens to continue the work of healing and transformation. Gotham's future heroes, inspired by Batman's example, must understand that justice does not come from a single individual's quest for control. It comes from the collective will of the people. Batman's psychological projection may have served as a necessary force to confront Gotham's darkest impulses, but it is the city's ability to accept its own flaws, address its systemic issues, and build lasting change that will define its future. The psychological need for Gotham to accept its own darkness. Gotham, as a psychological projection of its own internal struggle, must come to terms with its own darkness. Batman's fight against crime and corruption is not just external, it is a reflection of the city's inability to reconcile with its past. Gotham cannot heal unless it faces the reality of its own history, the cycles of violence, corruption, and injustice that have plagued it for decades. Batman's existence has been a way for the city to avoid facing these truths, but true change can only come when Gotham acknowledges that its darkness is not something to be fought with external force alone. It must be confronted and integrated into its collective identity. The villains that Batman faces are not simply criminals, they are the externalized versions of Gotham's internal chaos. The Joker, Two-Face, and others are physical manifestations of the city's fractured psyche. Gotham cannot fully heal unless it accepts these dark aspects of itself, learning that the key to redemption lies not in repressing its fears and flaws, but in understanding and addressing them. Batman's struggle against these villains is mirrored by Gotham's own battle to accept and integrate its own repressed darkness. The city's psychological growth depends on this acceptance. Gotham cannot truly move forward if it continues to rely on Batman as a projection of its moral compass. It must learn to find its own balance between light and dark, between order and chaos, and between justice and mercy. Batman's role in this process is critical, not as a figure to be depended on forever, but as a catalyst for Gotham's awakening to its own potential. The final steps in Gotham Cit's transformation. Moving beyond Batman Cit's shadow. The key to Gotham's ultimate transformation is its ability to step out from Batman's shadow and embrace its own future. Batman, as a psychological projection of the city's desires, cannot remain the city's central figure. Gotham must learn to rely on itself, trusting its own people, institutions, and heroes to continue the work he began. While Batman's legacy will always be a part of the city's identity, Gotham's true healing will occur when it begins to define itself outside of his influence. This shift requires a deep and collective reckoning, a recognition that Gotham's recovery lies not in the shadows of fear and trauma, but in the light of collaboration, trust, and responsibility. The city must embrace its flaws, accept its past, and move forward with the understanding that the strength of its people, not just the presence of a single hero, will define its future. Gotham's psychological projection of Batman will always remain a part of its legacy, but the city's evolution depends on its ability to heal and mature. Gotham's future heroes will need to understand that the path to justice and redemption is not about one man fighting alone, but about a city coming together to face its challenges head-on. Batman has taught Gotham the importance of resilience, hope, and collaboration, but now the city must take those lessons and apply them in its own quest for healing. Gotham's journey toward collective empowerment. The final step in Gotham's transformation is to foster collective empowerment. Gotham's citizens, once victims of its systemic failures, now have the opportunity to shape their own future. Batman's role as a symbol of hope, has inspired a new generation of heroes, not just in costume but in every corner of Gotham, from community leaders to activists and reformers. These individuals understand that justice is not a singular pursuit. It is a collective effort that requires participation from everyone. Gotham's recovery will come from within. It is no longer a city in need of a single figure to impose justice from the shadows. It is a city that must believe in its own ability to heal, to change, and to become something better. Batman's journey, from a solitary avenger to a symbol of collective hope, shows that the true power of Gotham lies in its people's willingness to fight for a better tomorrow. The bat signal, once a symbol of Gotham's dependence on a single protector, now serves as a beacon for all who believe in the city's potential. It is no longer just a call for Batman to take action. It is a call for the people of Gotham to continue the work of redemption and renewal. As Gotham stands at the threshold of a new future, the challenge becomes clear. How does a city move beyond its repressed fears and psychological projections while still holding on to the lessons it has learned? Gotham's path forward is not without its difficulties, but the city now has the tools it needs to rebuild itself, tools inspired by Batman, yet distinct from him. The influence of Batman, though powerful and formative, cannot carry Gotham forever. It's time for the city to step into its own future, free from the shadow of the Dark Knight. The psychological evolution of Gotham sips people. Gotham's true growth will depend on the evolution of its people. No longer passive observers of the chaos around them, Gotham's citizens must learn to see themselves as active participants in the fight for a better future. Batman, as a reflection of Gotham's collective psyche, represented the city's repressed desire for control, order, and justice. However, in his absence, Gotham's people will need to internalize these values, adopting a sense of personal responsibility for their own actions and their city's future. The battle for Gotham's soul has always been a battle between individual agency and systemic forces. Gotham has always depended on Batman to act as a protector, but true healing begins when Gotham's people take ownership of their collective future. The city has learned from Batman that heroism is not an inherent trait. It is a choice that anyone can make, regardless of their past or their fears. As Gotham's citizens begin to embrace their own power to create change, they form the foundation for a new type of justice, one that no longer relies on fear and intimidation, but on collaboration, understanding, and the collective will to fight for what is right. The psychological evolution of Gotham's people, moving from passive victims of crime to active agents of change, is essential to the city's future. Batman's influence is an enduring one, but as Gotham moves forward, the real power lies within the collective efforts of its citizens. Gotham is not just a city of broken people looking for a savior. It is a city of individuals ready to come together and rebuild, using their own strength and resources. A city of many voices, the need for diverse leadership. Gotham's next phase of growth requires a new approach to leadership, one that is inclusive and multifaceted. Batman's leadership, while vital, was often solitary and driven by his own personal code. His transformation into a mentor and guide was an important shift, but it's crucial for Gotham to embrace a diverse leadership structure that draws on the strengths of many voices, not just one. This shift in leadership can be seen in the new generation of Gotham's heroes, figures like Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin, who now represent different facets of the city's evolving identity. They are not just Batman's protégés. They are symbols of the changing face of Gotham's future. Each hero brings their own strengths, perspectives, and ideals to the table, showing that the city's future depends not on one person's vision, but on the collective contributions of many. Just as Gotham's people must take ownership of their city's future, Gotham's leadership must embrace the diversity of its voices. This means not only empowering its heroes, but also its civic leaders, its grassroots activists, and its ordinary citizens who have been affected by the city's trials. A city can only truly heal when its leadership reflects the needs and desires of all its people. Gotham's healing will come not just from the top down, but from the bottom up. The role of institutions in Gotham SIP's future. For Gotham to evolve, it is essential that its institutions, police, government, schools, healthcare, and social services, transform as well. Batman's fight against crime was as much about the individuals he stopped as it was about the larger institutions that allowed those criminals to thrive. Corruption in Gotham's political and law enforcement systems was often a key factor in the city's deterioration, and the need for reform within these institutions remains critical. The work Batman started in reforming Gotham's police force and supporting social programs must now be picked up by Gotham's new leaders. These institutions must evolve from being corrupt and inefficient to being transparent, accountable, and community-focused. Gotham's people need to see that the systems in place to protect them are working for them, not against them. As Gotham continues to rebuild, its institutions must become pillars of support for the city's citizens, not sources of oppression. This requires a rethinking of how justice is served, not just through the arrest and punishment of criminals, but through rehabilitation, community engagement, and systemic reform. Batman's legacy is not just in the villains he defeated, but in the changes he inspired in the very systems that failed Gotham's people for so long. Gotham SIP's unfinished journey, confronting its dark legacy. Even as Gotham's future looks brighter, the city's unfinished journey remains. Gotham cannot erase its past, nor should it. Its history of corruption, violence, and fear has shaped the city into what it is today. The real challenge is not forgetting the past, but learning from it. Gotham's future cannot be built on an illusion of perfection. It must be built on an understanding of its flaws and a collective desire to transcend them. For Gotham to heal, it must confront its dark legacy. This means not only acknowledging the city's past traumas, but using them as a foundation for growth. Batman's role, once that of a lone avenger, is now that of a symbol that Gotham's future lies not in the perfection of any individual, but in the ongoing process of healing and transformation. Batman has shown Gotham that true heroism is not about erasing the past, but about facing it and continuing to fight for a better future, despite the odds. Gotham SIP's future, a city empowered. In the end, Gotham's future will depend on its ability to stand on its own, free from the psychological projection of Batman as its sole protector. The city's redemption is not in the hands of a single hero, but in the hands of its people, its citizens, its leaders, and its new generation of heroes. Batman has been a catalyst for Gotham's growth, but the city's true strength lies in its collective ability to face its challenges together. Gotham's future is no longer defined by its past failures. It is a future where hope, resilience, and justice are not imposed from above, but built from within. As Gotham continues to heal, the bat signal no longer represents a call for Batman alone. It represents the call for every citizen who believes in the city's potential to rise above its past and build something better. And so, Gotham stands on the cusp of a new beginning. Its future, shaped by its people and its heroes, is no longer uncertain. It is a future filled with possibility, hope, and the promise that the darkness of the past can be overcome. Batman's legacy will live on, not in his actions alone, but in the collective efforts of those who choose to fight for the city's redemption. As Gotham begins to emerge from the shadows of its past, the city's true potential lies in the ability to balance its history with the opportunities for growth and renewal. Batman's legacy, while vital in shaping Gotham's present, is not one that can be carried forward indefinitely. Gotham must forge its own path, one where the influence of a single figure, no matter how iconic, no longer defines its future. The journey is not an easy one, but it is one filled with hope, unity, and the potential for real, lasting change. Gotham sips future without the shadow of Batman. With Batman's influence beginning to wane, Gotham must learn to thrive without relying on a single hero to fight its battles. Batman's presence has been a constant, a force that has held the city together in times of crisis. Yet, Gotham's ultimate test is whether it can continue its recovery without him. The city, though transformed, still faces immense challenges, and the work that Batman started must be carried forward by its citizens. For Gotham to stand on its own, it must continue to grow in ways that reflect the lessons of the past while building for the future. It is no longer enough to rely on Batman's heroism or his singular vision of justice. Gotham's heroes, whether they wear capes or not, must take up the mantle of responsibility. They must learn to trust in their own ability to create change, to address the city's systemic issues, and to ensure that the progress made does not falter. The rise of new leaders and heroes. As Batman steps back, the role of leadership in Gotham must evolve. While figures like Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin continue to play crucial roles, they too must learn that their city's future cannot be defined by a lone protector. Gotham's new heroes, rising from the shadows of their mentor's legacy, must find their own identities and leadership styles that reflect the values Batman has instilled in them, values of justice, hope, and unity. Nightwing, now a seasoned leader, begins to redefine his role in Gotham's defense. He embraces the mantle of leadership but does so with a collaborative approach, understanding that the fight for justice is a collective endeavor. Batgirl, with her unparalleled intellect and tech-savvy skills, focuses on building systems of support for Gotham's citizens, ensuring that technology and information are used to empower rather than control. Robin, once Batman's sidekick, steps into his own role as a protector of Gotham, but now with a broader understanding of what it means to lead, not just fight. Together, they represent the evolution of Batman's legacy. They are not simply extensions of his power. They are the new face of Gotham's future, working together to ensure the city does not regress into its old ways. The challenge now lies in integrating the new generation of leaders with the systems that have been rebuilt, ensuring that Gotham's strength comes not from fear or control, but from the unity of its people and its heroes. The continuing struggle. Addressing Gotham's systemic issues. Despite the emergence of new leaders, Gotham's work is far from done. The systemic issues that have long plagued the city, poverty, corruption, inequality, still require attention. Gotham cannot thrive without addressing these deep-seated problems. Batman's fight, though monumental, was only one part of the larger battle for justice in the city. Gotham's political, social, and economic systems must undergo real reform to ensure that the progress made is sustainable. The city cannot continue to be a place where wealth and power control the fate of its residents. The new leaders of Gotham must work to ensure that the systems that support the city, its schools, its healthcare, its legal system, are equitable and accessible to all. This process will require more than just action from the heroes in masks. It will require the collaboration of Gotham's citizens, businesses, and government officials. The fight for justice in Gotham is no longer a battle fought by a few individuals. It is a collective effort. Batman's legacy lives on not in the actions of one man, but in the city's willingness to fight for a better future. Gotham must learn to heal itself, to face its flaws, and to build the institutions that will allow it to stand tall without relying on a single figurehead. A city reborn. Gotham sips. New identity. As Gotham continues to move forward, it begins to redefine itself, not as a city defined by crime and corruption, but as a city that has faced its demons and emerged stronger. Gotham's future is no longer solely shaped by its past trauma. It is shaped by the collective will of its people to create a better tomorrow. This new Gotham is one where its people, heroes, and institutions work together to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. It is a city where justice, hope, and equality are not ideals, but realities that are continuously fought for. Batman's influence, though lasting, has given way to a new generation of heroes who understand that Gotham's true strength lies in its ability to face its flaws and work together to overcome them. The bat signal, once a call for Batman's intervention, is now a symbol of Gotham's ongoing commitment to justice. It no longer represents the need for a singular figure to protect the city. It represents the collective effort of Gotham's heroes and its citizens to continue the work that Batman started. Gotham's future, while uncertain, is filled with hope. The lasting legacy of Batman. Batman's legacy will never fade. It will continue to live on in the streets of Gotham, in the hearts of its people, and in the actions of the new generation of heroes who fight to protect the city. Gotham will always bear the mark of the Dark Knight, but it will also carry the lessons he imparted, that true justice is not about control or fear, but about resilience, collaboration, and the courage to confront one's own flaws. Gotham's future is no longer one defined by the darkness Batman once fought against, but by the light of hope and change that he sparked. The city has been transformed, not just by Batman's actions, but by the collective efforts of its people to build a better, more just society. Gotham stands on the cusp of a new beginning, one that is no longer in the shadow of the Dark Knight, but in the hands of its citizens, its heroes, and its leaders. As Gotham enters a new chapter, the focus shifts to the city's continued progress, despite the challenges that still lie ahead. While Batman's legacy remains an integral part of Gotham's transformation, the responsibility now lies with the city's citizens and its evolving leadership. Gotham has learned valuable lessons from Batman, but true growth comes from the ability to move beyond his shadow and cultivate a future that is not reliant on a single figure, no matter how iconic. The changing landscape of crime. Gotham sips. Shifting battle. Gotham's relationship with crime has always been complex. While Batman's fight against crime was central to his identity, the ongoing battle is no longer just about eliminating individual criminals. The structure of crime in Gotham has evolved, as has the city's approach to addressing it. Batman's method, focused largely on physical confrontations and punitive measures, was effective, but it has also left gaps in Gotham's broader strategy. The new generation of Gotham's leaders must now confront a more sophisticated form of crime. The criminals of Gotham no longer operate simply in the shadows. They are embedded within the systems that govern the city. Corruption within institutions, white-collar crime, and systemic exploitation become the focal points of the city's ongoing struggle. The old methods of crime fighting, Isolated interventions, arrests, and vigilantism are no longer sufficient on their own. Gotham's new heroes, including Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin, now face the task of addressing crime from a more systemic perspective. They must work not only to combat the visible symptoms of crime, but to tackle its root causes: poverty, inequality, corruption, and the lack of opportunity. Gotham's recovery is about changing the structures that perpetuate crime, not just arresting criminals. This shift requires a more collaborative approach, where law enforcement, social organizations, and community leaders all work together to create an environment where crime is less likely to thrive. Rebuilding Gotham SIP's trust, engaging with the community. A key part of Gotham's future is rebuilding trust between the city's institutions and its people. For years, Gotham's citizens have lived in fear, not just of the criminals on the streets, but of the very systems designed to protect them. The police force, the government, and the judiciary have often been seen as corrupt, ineffective, or complicit in the city's downfall. Batman's lone crusade against crime did not address the systemic failures of Gotham's institutions, and as a result, Gotham's residents were left with little faith in those meant to serve them. Now, as Gotham moves forward, the city's leaders must take active steps to restore trust. This requires transparency, accountability, and a willingness to engage with the communities that have been most affected by crime and corruption. Gotham's heroes are no longer fighting in isolation. They are working alongside law enforcement, social workers, and community organizations to rebuild the public's trust in its institutions. This process of rebuilding trust is a long one, but it is a necessary step in the city's healing. Community outreach programs, public forums, and grassroots efforts become integral to Gotham's recovery. The people of Gotham must see that their voices are heard and that they are part of the solution, not just passive recipients of protection. Gotham's heroes, while continuing to fight crime, must also serve as a bridge between the city's leadership and its citizens, helping to restore a sense of shared responsibility for the city's future. The role of Gotham SIP's institutions in sustaining change. While the people of Gotham are crucial to the city's recovery, the role of its institutions is just as important. Batman's legacy of justice and vigilance must be complemented by institutional reform. Gotham's legal and political systems, long stained by corruption and inefficiency, must evolve to ensure that the progress made is sustainable. Gotham's police force, once a force plagued by corruption, is now under the scrutiny of its citizens. It must shift from a militarized, fear-driven approach to one that is community-oriented, focused on preventing crime through collaboration and support, rather than fear and punishment. Public safety efforts must include rehabilitation programs, social services, and a focus on crime prevention rather than simply locking up offenders. Gotham's justice system must move away from punitive measures and towards restorative justice, ensuring that those who commit crimes have the opportunity to reintegrate into society in a positive way. Gotham's political systems also need reform. The corrupt officials and power structures that once allowed crime to flourish in the city must be dismantled and replaced with transparent, accountable governance. Gotham's people must have a say in the decisions that affect their lives, ensuring that the city's growth is not just top-down, but also driven by the people who live in it. The psychological healing of Gotham, embracing vulnerability and unity. While Gotham works toward rebuilding its institutions, the city must also address its psychological wounds. Gotham, much like Batman, has spent years suppressing its own trauma, pushing forward despite the darkness that surrounds it. In order to truly heal, Gotham must acknowledge the pain of its past, the violence, the loss, and the systemic failures that have shaped its identity. This is not an easy task, as the city's deep-rooted fears and anxieties continue to influence its actions. But healing begins with vulnerability. Gotham must learn to accept its flaws and acknowledge its trauma in order to move forward. This process is not about erasing the past, but about learning from it. Gotham's citizens must embrace the reality that the city's path to recovery is not linear. It will be filled with setbacks and challenges, but it is also filled with potential for change. Gotham's heroes, having learned from Batman's own evolution, must show the city that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it is a source of strength. This shift in mindset is critical to Gotham's psychological healing. Once the city begins to accept its flaws and vulnerabilities, it can move beyond the cycle of fear and trauma that has held it back for so long. The people of Gotham must come together, not as a city divided by crime and corruption, but as a united force committed to healing and rebuilding. It is this collective strength, this shared commitment to resilience, that will ultimately define Gotham's future. A bright future for Gotham, empowered and unified. As Gotham continues its journey of healing, it does so with a renewed sense of purpose. Batman's role as the solitary protector may be coming to an end, but his legacy lives on in the city he helped transform. Gotham, once defined by its darkness, is now a city that has learned to face its flaws and embrace its potential for change. The people of Gotham, inspired by Batman's sacrifice and resilience, now understand that the fight for a better future is not one that can be won by a single hero, but by the collective efforts of everyone who calls Gotham home. The future of Gotham is bright. While the city will always face challenges, it now has the tools it needs to confront them. Gotham's heroes, its citizens, and its institutions are working together to create a city where justice, opportunity, and hope are not just ideals, but realities. Gotham's journey is far from over, but with each step it takes, it moves closer to becoming the city it has always dreamed of being. A city defined not by fear or corruption, but by its resilience, unity, and the shared commitment to building a better tomorrow. As Gotham continues its transformation, the city's development hinges on an evolving understanding of what it means to be a community, a city, and a force for collective change. The road ahead is paved with uncertainty, but the city now carries the tools and lessons necessary to rebuild itself from the inside out. Batman, though still a symbol of hope and resilience, is no longer the lone figure that defines Gotham's path. The true work of healing and building a sustainable future lies with those who call Gotham home, the citizens, the heroes, and the leaders who will carry the torch of change into the future. Gotham's new identity, a city defined by unity, not fear. Gotham's rebirth is rooted in its ability to redefine its own identity. For too long, the city was defined by its crime-ridden streets, its corrupt institutions, and the looming figure of Batman, who embodied both its darkest fears and its brightest hopes. But as Gotham moves forward, its identity must no longer be tied to a single man or a single narrative. The city is learning to stand on its own, free from the psychological shackles of its past, empowered by the collective effort of its citizens. This new identity is defined by unity. Gotham's future is no longer about relying on one protector, but about building a community where everyone plays a role in ensuring the city's safety, stability, and prosperity. Gotham's people now understand that true strength doesn't come from a singular hero. It comes from the shared responsibility of every individual working together for the common good. This shift in mindset is crucial for the city's continued growth. As Gotham sheds its identity as a city constantly at war with itself, it embraces a more hopeful and collaborative vision. The city's once divided neighborhoods begin to come together, and citizens are increasingly involved in local governance, social reforms, and community-based crime prevention initiatives. Gotham is no longer a place that looks to Batman as its sole symbol of hope. It is a place where hope is cultivated within every corner, every block, and every person who chooses to be part of the city's recovery. Rebuilding Gotham SIP's reputation, a global shift. Gotham's evolution isn't confined to its streets or its people alone. It extends beyond its borders, influencing the way the world views the city. For decades, Gotham was seen as a place of despair, violence, and corruption. Batman may have been Gotham's protector, but the city's reputation was tarnished by its past. Now, as Gotham grows and evolves, its newfound reputation as a city of transformation spreads beyond the shores of the United States. Gotham becomes a symbol of hope for other cities struggling with similar issues: crime, corruption, inequality, and systemic dysfunction. Gotham's success in addressing these issues through collective effort, community involvement, and institutional reform serves as a model for other cities to follow. The global shift in how Gotham is perceived is not just the result of Batman's work, it is the product of the city's determination to change. Gotham's example shows that even the most fractured and troubled cities can heal through the collaboration of their citizens and leaders. The rise of Gotham as a global example of reform and renewal also provides a new layer of responsibility. Gotham must now serve as a beacon of hope for other cities in need of transformation. But with this global recognition comes the need for continued vigilance. Gotham can't afford to slip back into old habits. The world is watching, and the city's reputation must be upheld through constant effort and commitment to its principles of justice, equality, and hope. Sustaining Gotham's progress. The role of mentorship and legacy. As Gotham continues to rebuild, the city's leadership must recognize the importance of mentorship and legacy. The future of Gotham depends not only on the new generation of heroes who have taken up the mantle, but also on the guidance and support they receive from those who have come before them. Batman's legacy, while no longer at the forefront, still provides valuable lessons for Gotham's leaders. Nightwing, Batgirl, and Robin, having learned from Batman's mistakes and successes, are now tasked with mentoring the next wave of Gotham's protectors. They understand that their role is not just about fighting crime, it is about empowering the next generation to be more than just vigilantes, but community leaders who understand the importance of social justice, compassion, and collaboration. The future of Gotham depends on these leaders instilling in the city's youth the values of responsibility, resilience, and hope. The cycle of mentorship continues, with each generation passing on the lessons of the past while adapting them to the future. But it is not just Gotham's heroes who must focus on mentorship. The city's institutions, its schools, social services, and government must also prioritize the development of the next generation. Gotham's future cannot be solely defined by its crime fighters. It must also be shaped by the next generation of teachers, community leaders, activists, and policymakers who will carry the city's ideals forward. The future of Gotham. A city defined by its people, not its shadows. As Gotham continues to heal, it finds its true strength, not in the absence of darkness, but in its ability to balance light and shadow. The city will always have challenges: crime, corruption, inequality, because these are issues that every society must face. But Gotham now has the tools to confront these challenges, with unity, resilience, and a commitment to justice that transcends Batman's individual crusade. Gotham's greatest asset is no longer a single protector, but the collective strength of its people. The city's recovery, built on the lessons of the past and the commitment to a better future, is a story of resilience. Gotham's story is no longer one of endless darkness. It is a city defined by its determination to rise above its struggles and build a new future, one where the legacy of Batman lives on, but in the form of a community that works together to ensure justice, safety, and opportunity for all its citizens. Gotham's journey is a testament to the power of transformation. It shows that even the most broken cities, even those steeped in trauma and suffering, can heal if they embrace change, face their flaws, and work together for a better tomorrow. Batman's influence will always be a part of Gotham's history, but the city's future is now in the hands of those who choose to carry the torch of hope, justice, and unity. Gotham's darkest days are behind it, and the city now stands ready to embrace a new, brighter future, one built on the collective efforts of those who believe in its potential. As Gotham continues its journey of growth and evolution, its trajectory is marked not only by its political and social reforms, but also by its cultural transformation. Gotham is moving away from a place defined by its pain and trauma and toward a future where creativity, innovation, and empowerment take center stage. No longer will the city be trapped in the cycle of crime and fear, but will embrace a vibrant, collaborative, and diverse culture that reflects the strength of its people. The cultural renaissance of Gotham, embracing creativity and innovation. Gotham's cultural renaissance becomes one of the key pillars of its transformation. The city, which once epitomized darkness and decay, begins to celebrate the arts, education, and community-driven initiatives. With the foundation of reform laid by Batman's legacy, Gotham now has the space to foster creativity, imagination, and artistic expression in ways it never has before. Public art projects, performance spaces, and educational programs flourish, encouraging its citizens to reclaim their city through creativity. The arts offer an avenue for Gotham's people to express their pain, hopes, and dreams, helping to heal the wounds of the past. Artistic expression becomes a powerful tool for unity, drawing people from all walks of life together and encouraging collaboration. Gotham's cultural shift extends into its technological landscape. Once known for its corruption and oppressive structures, Gotham now invests in technology and innovation to better the lives of its citizens. Tech startups, social enterprises, and green businesses emerge as driving forces for change. Gotham becomes a hub for technological development that prioritizes sustainability, inclusion, and social equity, offering new opportunities for its young generation to rise above the hardships of the past. Innovation becomes a cornerstone of Gotham's recovery, not just in business, but in how its people engage with the world. Gotham's universities and schools, once sidelined, now become centers for cutting-edge research, fostering a new generation of thinkers, creators, and change-makers. This transformation is reflective of Gotham's maturation. It is a city that no longer looks to the past with regret, but to the future with hope. Rebuilding Gotham SIP's communities. Empowerment through unity. One of the most profound aspects of Gotham's transformation is the way its communities begin to rebuild themselves. Where Gotham once seemed divided by wealth, class, and geography, the city now begins to come together. Neighborhoods that were once neglected or marginalized start to thrive as residents work together to create safer, more connected spaces. This shift in community consciousness is a direct result of the healing work Batman started, and it becomes clear that Gotham's strength is rooted in its ability to come together in the face of adversity. This community-driven change manifests in several ways, from neighborhood watches and local youth programs to the establishment of community gardens and cultural centers. Gotham's residents now take an active role in shaping their own futures. With the support of local leaders, community activists, and newly formed alliances, the city works to erase the boundaries that once separated its people. This collective effort extends to social services, with the establishment of rehabilitation programs that help people reintegrate into society. Homelessness, substance abuse, and unemployment are tackled with a multifaceted approach that combines social services, healthcare, education, and employment opportunities. Gotham's transformation from a city plagued by inequality to one defined by inclusivity is a long-term effort, but it is one that the people of Gotham are dedicated to, using the power of unity to drive progress. The political shift, new governance, new horizons. As Gotham's communities and culture evolve, so too does its political landscape. The corrupt politicians and officials who once ruled Gotham are gradually replaced by a new generation of leaders who are committed to true reform and transparency. These new leaders come from diverse backgrounds, representing the city's various neighborhoods and communities. They understand that the future of Gotham lies in dismantling the old systems of power and replacing them with governance that is open, accountable, and focused on the well-being of all its residents. With Batman's influence, Gotham's political structure begins to shift from one of power hoarding and corruption to one of collaborative governance. Policies focused on equitable distribution of resources, crime prevention, environmental sustainability, and education reform take center stage. Gotham's leaders work hand in hand with community representatives, ensuring that the needs of all its citizens are heard and addressed. As Gotham's politics grow more transparent, so too does its legal system. The justice system, once fraught with corruption, moves toward restorative justice, where focus is placed on rehabilitation and reintegration rather than mere punishment. The system works to give those who have been incarcerated a second chance, helping to address the root causes of crime and ensuring that those who have wronged society can reintegrate as productive members of the community. The future of Gotham, a city that belongs to its people. Ultimately, Gotham's future is defined by the choices its citizens make every day. The city has come a long way from the dark, chaotic place it once was. With Batman's influence, the people of Gotham have learned that justice is not the work of a single person, but a collective effort. It is no longer a city that waits for someone to save it. It is a city that works together to ensure its own redemption. Gotham's journey is a testament to the power of transformation. It shows that even the most broken of places can heal, but only when its people take ownership of their future. Batman, as a symbol of hope and resilience, was the catalyst for this change. But Gotham's real transformation lies in the efforts of its citizens to rise above their challenges and build a brighter future. This new Gotham is a city defined not by fear, not by corruption, but by hope, unity, and the unyielding belief that together, its people can overcome anything. Gotham may have been built on a legacy of trauma and darkness, but its future is now defined by its people's courage, creativity, and commitment to rebuilding, a future where every citizen plays a part in creating a better tomorrow. As Gotham's transformation continues, the city moves into its next phase of growth, a phase where its social, economic, and political progress must be sustained and built upon. The changes that have begun are not instantaneous, and the work ahead will require constant vigilance and dedication. Gotham's fight for justice, equality, and peace does not end with the defeat of crime. It extends to the city's ability to continually evolve, learn from its mistakes, and adapt to the challenges of a rapidly changing world. Facing the new global challenges, Gotham in the modern age. As Gotham continues its recovery, it becomes increasingly apparent that the city's future cannot be defined solely by local issues. Gotham, once isolated in its struggles, now faces a more interconnected global stage. The world around it is changing rapidly, and new challenges such as environmental sustainability, technological disruption, and global economic shifts begin to make their presence known. Gotham's role as a beacon of hope and transformation can no longer be confined to just its streets and neighborhoods. The city's leadership, including its new generation of heroes, must begin to think globally and engage with larger issues that affect not just Gotham, but the world as a whole. Globalization, the rise of digital technology, and environmental concerns require Gotham's leaders to think beyond their borders and develop new solutions to these emerging crises. This global interconnectedness presents a unique challenge. How can Gotham maintain its hard-earned progress while addressing these broader issues? The city's future will require a shift in mindset from local resilience to global responsibility. Gotham must continue to build on its commitment to justice and inclusivity while working to position itself as a city that leads not only in crime prevention and rehabilitation, but also in sustainable, forward-thinking solutions to the world's biggest challenges. Gotham as a hub for innovation, embracing the future. One of the areas where Gotham has already begun to make significant strides is in technological and business innovation. Gotham's future must include a continued focus on technological advancement and the use of innovation to address both local and global issues. Gotham has long been a city of contrasts, rich in resources, but plagued by systemic failure. But now, as it rebuilds, it begins to tap into its creative potential. The city's growing tech sector becomes a critical part of its future. Gotham's new heroes, particularly those like Batgirl, with her intelligence and technological savvy, embrace the role of innovators and problem solvers. Gotham's commitment to sustainability and social equity will be reflected in the technological solutions it develops. Whether it's green energy solutions, smart city technologies, or advancements in healthcare and education, Gotham must become a model for how technology can be harnessed for the common good. Gotham's universities, once part of a broken educational system, now become hubs of research and development, attracting some of the brightest minds in the world. New startups and social enterprises emerge, focused on addressing the challenges of inequality, crime, and the environment. The city's growing reputation as a center of innovation serves as a reminder that Gotham's greatest asset has always been its people, their creativity, resourcefulness, and commitment to change. Social equity and economic justice, ensuring no one is left behind. While Gotham's technological and economic growth provides a foundation for its future, it is equally important that this growth benefits everyone in the city, not just the wealthy or powerful. Economic inequality has always been a defining feature of Gotham, with stark divides between the privileged and the underserved. For Gotham to truly heal, it must ensure that its prosperity is inclusive and that its most vulnerable citizens are not left behind. Economic justice becomes one of the core goals of Gotham's continued recovery. The city's leaders must focus on closing the wealth gap, improving access to education and healthcare, and providing opportunities for all its citizens to thrive. This effort requires the active participation of both the public and private sectors. Gotham's economic policies must prioritize affordability, ensuring that housing, healthcare, and education are accessible to everyone. At the same time, the city must encourage entrepreneurship, especially in underserved neighborhoods, to create sustainable job opportunities and economic growth. A strong social safety net must be put in place to ensure that no one falls through the cracks. Gotham's social programs, once underfunded and fragmented, must be expanded and improved. These programs should focus not only on helping people in times of crisis, but on providing the tools and resources they need to build a better future for themselves and their families. Economic justice must be a core principle of Gotham's rebirth, one that ensures all residents have an opportunity to live prosperous, fulfilling lives. Environmental sustainability, building a green Gotham. Another critical component of Gotham's future is its commitment to environmental sustainability. As the world grapples with the realities of climate change, cities like Gotham must take a leading role in creating sustainable solutions. Gotham, with its wealth of resources and innovative potential, is uniquely positioned to make significant strides in this area. Gotham's leaders and citizens must prioritize environmental policies that address the city's carbon footprint, waste management, and energy consumption. Green energy initiatives, such as solar and wind power, must be integrated into the city's infrastructure. Transportation systems must become more sustainable, reducing reliance on fossil fuels and promoting public transit, cycling, and electric vehicles. Gotham's commitment to sustainability should also extend to its urban development. The city must work to reduce its environmental impact by embracing eco-friendly building practices, promoting green spaces, and investing in technologies that make its buildings and infrastructure more energy efficient. The push for a green Gotham is not just about addressing climate change, it's about ensuring that the city is prepared for the future, creating an environment that supports both its people and the planet. A new dawn for Gotham, a legacy of hope and resilience. As Gotham continues to rebuild, its future is increasingly shaped by the collective effort of its people, its heroes, and its leaders. The shadow of Batman may no longer dominate the city, but his legacy of hope, resilience, and transformation remains at the heart of Gotham's identity. Gotham's story is not just one of recovery, it is one of redemption. The city has faced its darkest days and emerged stronger for it. Now, as Gotham faces the new challenges of the modern world, it does so with a renewed sense of purpose and unity. Gotham is no longer a city defined by its failures, but one that is determined to build a future that is brighter, more inclusive, and more sustainable. Batman's legacy is one of perseverance and growth, and it serves as the foundation for Gotham's future, a city that no longer relies on a single hero, but on the collective will of its people to create a just, equitable, and prosperous society. Gotham's journey is ongoing, but with each step it moves closer to the city it has always had the potential to be, a city that not only survives but thrives, a beacon of hope and progress for all. As Gotham moves further into its transformation, the challenges it faces evolve alongside its newfound strength and resilience. While the city has made tremendous strides, it is important to recognize that the work of true change is never complete. Gotham's growth cannot be defined by a single victory, nor can it be dictated by a linear path. Rather, Gotham's future will be determined by its ability to face its continued struggles head-on, using the lessons learned from the past to navigate the complexities of the future. Gotham SIP's continued struggle with its past, the importance of never forgetting. While Gotham's current leadership and citizens have embraced the city's potential, it is crucial that the city never forgets the darkness from which it emerged. The past, the crime, corruption, and trauma is not something to be erased. Gotham must maintain its connection to its history, not as a symbol of its failures, but as a constant reminder of the resilience and transformation that has brought it to where it is today. The psychological scars of Gotham's history will always remain, and the city's ability to face its past with honesty and humility is key to its continued progress. Gotham's residents must always remember the lessons of their past, the consequences of power left unchecked, the deep-rooted inequities, and the pervasive corruption that once defined the city. Only by acknowledging the full scope of its history will Gotham be able to build a future that is truly just and free from repeating its mistakes. Gotham's heroes, too, must internalize this truth. They will be the keepers of Gotham's legacy, ensuring that the city's darkest chapters are never forgotten and that they are used as a compass for future decisions. This process is ongoing, an active commitment to not only fighting for Gotham's present, but preserving its future by learning from what has come before. The role of technology and surveillance, balancing safety and privacy. As Gotham progresses, one of the most pressing issues it must face is the balance between safety and individual freedoms. The advent of new technologies offers powerful tools for crime prevention, surveillance, and urban development, but it also presents new challenges regarding privacy, civil liberties, and the ethical implications of technological advancements. In the wake of Batman's reliance on technology, Gotham must now ask difficult questions about how it uses these tools in a way that serves its citizens without infringing on their rights. Batman's use of surveillance technology, while instrumental in his crime-fighting methods, was controversial, particularly regarding its impact on Gotham's privacy. The city now must carefully consider how it utilizes advanced technologies, whether for policing, social services, or city management, while ensuring that its citizens are protected from the overreach of surveillance and state control. Gotham's new leaders will need to create policies that protect the civil rights of its people while still providing the tools necessary to maintain public safety. These policies will need to strike a balance between technological advancement and individual freedoms. The future of Gotham's technological landscape will be determined not by the tools themselves, but by the ethical framework within which they are used. The role of mental health in Gotham SIP's healing. One of the most significant areas for growth in Gotham lies in its treatment of mental health. The trauma that Gotham's citizens have experienced over the years, whether from crime, violence, or systemic oppression, has had a deep psychological impact on the city. Batman himself, though a symbol of resilience, has always struggled with his own emotional and psychological scars. Gotham, as a reflection of his own struggles, must also confront the mental health issues that have affected its residents. This is not just about treating individuals who have experienced trauma. It is about building a city that prioritizes the mental well-being of all its people. Mental health must become a central part of Gotham's social and healthcare systems. Treatment for those suffering from trauma, PTSD, and other mental health issues should be readily accessible, with an emphasis on prevention, early intervention, and community support. Additionally, Gotham's justice system must move beyond its punitive roots to include mental health treatment for those involved in criminal activity. Understanding that crime is often a result of systemic failures, social conditions, and untreated mental health issues will help Gotham reduce recidivism and promote true rehabilitation. By addressing mental health issues from a holistic perspective, Gotham can build a healthier, more resilient population that is better equipped to face future challenges. Gotham SIP's global influence, becoming a model for urban transformation. With Gotham's transformation, the city has an opportunity to become a global example for urban renewal. Gotham's ability to recover from decades of violence, corruption, and decay is a testament to the resilience of its people. The lessons it has learned in crime prevention, economic justice, and social reform can be shared with other cities facing similar challenges around the world. Gotham's role on the global stage should be one of mentorship and knowledge sharing. Its leaders and citizens must work with other cities, particularly those struggling with systemic issues, to provide guidance on how to create lasting change. Gotham's experiences, especially its lessons in rebuilding trust between the police and the people, can serve as a powerful example of how to break the cycles of violence and inequality that plague many urban areas. Furthermore, Gotham's emerging commitment to sustainability and innovation positions it as a leader in the global fight against climate change and social inequality. Gotham's economic reforms, its push for sustainability, and its focus on tech-driven social solutions make it a model for the modern age. As the city continues to grow, it must position itself as a global leader, not just in crime fighting, but in creating a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. The final transformation, Gotham SIP's future, as a symbol of hope. In the end, Gotham's journey is one of evolution, an evolution from darkness to light, from fear to hope, from dependence to self-reliance. It is a city that has learned to face its flaws and grow from them. While it will always bear the scars of its past, Gotham now moves forward with a renewed sense of purpose and optimism. The future of Gotham is no longer defined by the shadow of Batman or the chaos of its criminal elements. It is defined by the strength of its people, the commitment to collaboration, and the belief that transformation is always possible. Gotham has learned that true power does not come from a single individual, but from the collective will of its citizens. Batman may have been the catalyst for this change, but the city's future will be determined by its ability to continue the work he started. Work that is rooted in justice, compassion, and the understanding that a better tomorrow is always within reach. As Gotham continues to evolve and redefine itself, there are new layers to the city's transformation that emerge as both challenges and opportunities. The journey Gotham has undertaken is far from over, and the city's future will be shaped by its capacity to adapt to the changing dynamics of a rapidly evolving world. The spirit of innovation, resilience, and collaboration must be maintained as new obstacles, some unforeseen and some inherited from the past, arise to test the city's resolve. The impact of globalization, navigating Gotham's position in a broader world. As Gotham continues to grow, its integration into the global landscape becomes more pronounced. In the past, Gotham's struggles were largely isolated within its own borders. However, in an increasingly connected world, the city's development cannot occur in a vacuum. Global trade, economics, and technology present both opportunities and risks. Gotham's leaders must navigate these complexities carefully, balancing local needs with international pressures. As Gotham becomes a hub of technological innovation and a center for sustainability, it must also face the realities of global economics. The city's reliance on global markets for resources, investment, and talent must be balanced with an internal commitment to maintaining its identity and serving the needs of its residents. The temptation to become a mere player in the global marketplace can threaten the city's progress if Gotham's leaders do not stay vigilant in ensuring that the benefits of growth are shared equitably. Moreover, Gotham must be prepared to address the challenges posed by a globalized world, issues such as climate change, economic inequality, and the displacement of vulnerable populations. Gotham's efforts to become a model of urban renewal can be an asset on the global stage, but it also carries the responsibility of being a leader in global solutions, especially in terms of sustainable urban development and social justice. The rise of new forms of crime, adapting to the digital age. While traditional forms of crime, robberies, gangs, and organized crime, remain a concern, Gotham must now contend with the rise of new threats in the digital age. Cybercrime, identity theft, and digital manipulation are becoming more pervasive, presenting challenges that Batman's traditional crime-fighting methods cannot address on their own. Gotham's new leaders and heroes must be prepared to fight these new forms of crime by adapting to the changing nature of criminal behavior. In the wake of Batman's departure, Gotham's police force and heroes like Batgirl and Nightwing will be at the forefront of battling cyber threats. As Gotham becomes more digitally connected, the city must invest in cybersecurity, technology-based crime prevention strategies, and education to help its citizens protect themselves from digital dangers. The battle against cybercrime will also require collaboration with global allies. Cybercriminals often operate across borders, and Gotham's ability to fight back will depend on international cooperation. Gotham's government must work with other cities and countries to create an interconnected framework for addressing cybercrime, sharing information, and developing new technologies to prevent and mitigate digital threats. Environmental challenges and urban planning. As Gotham continues to grow, its urban planning must be forward-thinking, ensuring that it can accommodate the needs of its growing population without sacrificing sustainability. The city faces the dual challenges of combating climate change while building a resilient infrastructure capable of withstanding future environmental stressors. Rising sea levels, pollution, and energy shortages are real risks that Gotham must address. A key part of Gotham's environmental strategy will be the promotion of green urban spaces. Parks, rooftop gardens, and urban forests not only contribute to the city's aesthetic appeal, but also play a crucial role in improving air quality, reducing heat, and providing residents with a sense of community. Sustainable building practices and eco-friendly transportation options will also be central to Gotham's future, making the city not only more resilient, but also more livable. Green energy initiatives are another crucial component. Gotham, with its tech sector and innovation in urban development, must continue to lead by example in adopting clean energy sources. The transition from fossil fuels to solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources is not just an environmental necessity, but a moral imperative. Gotham's long-term success will depend on its ability to reduce its carbon footprint and develop sustainable solutions for its citizens. Education and empowerment. Investing in the next generation. One of the most significant factors in Gotham's ongoing transformation is its commitment to education and youth empowerment. Gotham's future depends on the next generation of citizens and leaders who will carry the mantle of justice, responsibility, and change. The lessons of Batman's legacy must be taught to the youth of Gotham, emphasizing the importance of personal responsibility, civic engagement, and moral clarity. Education must extend beyond traditional schooling. It must focus on empowering young people with the skills and knowledge to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Technology, environmental sustainability, social justice, and political engagement must be part of the curriculum, alongside traditional subjects. Gotham schools must be places where students are not just taught facts, but also encouraged to think critically, creatively, and collaboratively. Youth programs, mentorship, and apprenticeships will be essential to ensuring that Gotham's young people have access to opportunities, regardless of their socioeconomic background. In a city that has long struggled with inequality, access to education and career opportunities must be prioritized. Gotham's future can only be secured if its next generation is equipped with the tools they need to continue the work of healing and rebuilding. Maintaining Gotham SIP's social cohesion, building a strong, united community. At its core, Gotham's recovery depends on the social cohesion of its people. Gotham has been divided for far too long by class, race, and opportunity. In order to truly heal, the city must create a sense of belonging and inclusivity, ensuring that no one is left behind in the process of its transformation. This will require continued efforts in addressing systemic inequality. The city's leaders must work to ensure that opportunities for education, healthcare, and employment are distributed fairly across all neighborhoods. Efforts to eliminate homelessness, improve access to social services, and reduce discrimination must be at the forefront of Gotham's policy agenda. The rebuilding of Gotham's social fabric also depends on community-driven efforts. The people of Gotham must be active participants in their city's recovery. Local organizations, neighborhood groups, and activists must continue to push for reform, ensuring that the city remains focused on inclusivity and justice. Gotham's heroes, whether they wear capes or not, must inspire the people to take pride in their city and work together to maintain the progress that has been made. As Gotham continues to build on its legacy of transformation, it enters a phase where its strength is defined not only by its capacity for adaptation, but also by its ability to face and overcome unforeseen challenges. These new obstacles are as complex as the city itself, testing its institutions, its citizens, and the very values it has worked so hard to restore. However, Gotham is no longer the broken city it once was. It is now a city with purpose, determination, and the tools to navigate the uncertain future ahead. New threats on the horizon. Gotham SIP's resilience in the face of change. As Gotham grows, so too do the threats that seek to undermine its progress. These threats may not always be as clear-cut as the criminals Batman once fought, but they are no less dangerous. Global instability, economic fluctuations, cyber threats, and even the rise of new forms of organized crime present Gotham with an ever-evolving array of challenges. Gotham's ability to adapt to these new threats will be tested in ways that Batman's original crusade never anticipated. While the city has learned the importance of collaboration, resilience, and collective responsibility, it must now apply these values in the face of emerging risks that affect not just Gotham, but the entire world. Cybersecurity, for example, becomes one of Gotham's most pressing issues as its technological infrastructure expands. Digital vulnerabilities leave the city open to manipulation and attacks that can disrupt its systems. In addition, the increase in global connectivity means that Gotham's financial, legal, and social systems are more exposed to external influences. This is where Gotham's new generation of heroes, including Batgirl and Nightwing, must evolve their strategies to tackle digital warfare, combating new forms of crime in the virtual world. Simultaneously, Environmental challenges like climate change become more urgent. Rising sea levels, natural disasters, and extreme weather events can threaten the physical infrastructure of Gotham. The city must focus on urban planning that not only addresses these concerns, but ensures that Gotham is resilient in the face of environmental change. Sustainable building practices, energy-efficient systems, and flood protection measures must be integrated into the city's design as part of its commitment to long-term sustainability. Gotham SIP's economic future, fostering long-term stability. As Gotham's cultural and technological growth progresses, so too must its economy. Gotham's economic recovery is essential for ensuring that the benefits of the city's progress are felt across all its communities. But this requires more than just boosting industries or attracting investors. Gotham must prioritize creating a sustainable economy that serves its people, especially its underserved communities. A key focus must be on fostering industries that align with the city's new ethical and environmental priorities. Green businesses, clean energy companies, and social enterprises that focus on justice and equality should be at the forefront of Gotham's economic agenda. At the same time, Gotham's traditional industries, like finance, technology, and manufacturing, must evolve to meet the demands of an increasingly interconnected and sustainability-conscious global market. A renewed focus on education, workforce development, and entrepreneurship will be essential. Gotham must ensure that its citizens have access to the training and opportunities needed to succeed in these emerging industries. By equipping its people with the tools to thrive in a modern, tech-driven economy, Gotham can continue to build a workforce that is adaptable, resilient, and capable of driving the city's continued success. Additionally, Gotham must work to address the growing wealth inequality that persists in many of its neighborhoods. While the city has made strides in overcoming its history of segregation and division, the gap between the wealthy elite and the working-class majority still exists. Gotham's leadership must ensure that its economic policies are inclusive, promoting fair wages, access to housing, and equal opportunities for all its residents. Gotham SIP's role in global peace and security. A growing international influence. As Gotham grows stronger, its role on the global stage will continue to expand, no longer a city defined by its own struggles. Gotham now has the opportunity to influence global affairs, especially in matters of justice, human rights, and sustainability. Gotham's leaders, with their experience in rebuilding a city from the ground up, are well positioned to offer guidance and assistance to other cities and countries grappling with similar issues. Gotham's rise as an international player could position it as a peacekeeping force in global conflicts, especially in matters related to human rights violations, corruption, and inequality. Gotham's experience with systemic reform, particularly its work in criminal justice reform and community rebuilding, can provide valuable insights into how to heal nations and cities torn apart by violence, corruption, and injustice. Moreover, Gotham's focus on sustainability and technological innovation could make it a leader in addressing the global climate crisis. Its tech sector, now focused on creating green solutions and advancing sustainable infrastructure, positions Gotham as a hub for international collaborations in combating environmental degradation and ensuring a healthier planet for future generations. The ongoing challenge of social integration, unity, and diversity. While Gotham has made significant strides in overcoming its historical divisions, the challenge of integrating diverse communities into a cohesive society remains. The city's past has been marked by stark divisions between the rich and the poor, different racial and ethnic groups, and even between the city's various neighborhoods. This fragmentation, while slowly mended by years of work, is a challenge that Gotham must continue to address. Social inclusion must be at the core of Gotham's recovery. The work to eliminate discrimination based on race, class, and gender must be sustained, with policies that ensure equal access to resources, opportunities, and justice. This requires not just political action, but cultural change, creating a Gotham where all its people feel valued, heard, and empowered. The city's heroes, both in and out of costume, must work alongside local leaders, activists, and community organizations to ensure that everyone in Gotham is included in its recovery. Social programs that promote understanding, tolerance, and unity will be key to building bridges between Gotham's diverse communities. The future of Gotham SIP's heroes. A new era of vigilance and hope. The heroes of Gotham, once defined by their association with Batman, now stand as independent figures, each shaping the city in their own way. While Batman's influence remains an important part of Gotham's history, it is clear that the future of Gotham's crime-fighting efforts rests with its new generation of heroes. Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and others now step into their own roles, not just as protectors of the city, but as symbols of its transformation. They have learned from Batman's methods, but understand that their fight is not just about crime, it's about maintaining the values of justice, hope, and resilience that Gotham has fought so hard to achieve. These new heroes represent a different kind of Gotham. A city that no longer depends on a solitary figure to bear its burdens, but a city that is empowered by the collective strength of its people. As Gotham continues to confront the challenges of the future, its heroes will serve as both protectors and leaders, guiding the city with wisdom, compassion, and vigilance. As Gotham continues to evolve, it becomes increasingly clear that its journey toward a more equitable, sustainable, and just future requires a constant re-evaluation of its values, systems, and leadership. While the city has made impressive strides in many areas, the ongoing process of growth and healing remains a dynamic and ever-present task. In this next phase, Gotham must deepen its commitment to long-term solutions, focusing not only on the present, but also on creating a legacy for future generations. Gotham SIP's identity in a changing world, balancing tradition and innovation. One of Gotham's greatest challenges, as it moves forward, is striking a balance between honoring its rich history and embracing the demands of an ever-evolving world. For so long, Gotham has been defined by its trauma, its crime, and the larger-than-life figure of Batman, who rose from the depths of the city's despair. As Gotham seeks to redefine itself, it must honor the lessons of its past, while shaping a future that is progressive, inclusive, and adaptable to the challenges of the modern age. This balance requires careful consideration of what makes Gotham unique, the resilience of its people, the strength of its community spirit, and its capacity to rise from adversity. These qualities have been the foundation upon which the city's transformation has been built. However, Gotham must also embrace innovation and the changes that come with progress. The future will require a shift from a city that defines itself by what it has endured to one that defines itself by what it is building. A city where creativity, opportunity, and social justice are the cornerstones of its growth. This balancing act involves embracing the technology that powers Gotham's economy while ensuring that the city's cultural and social roots remain intact. Gotham's identity should not be solely defined by its technology or economic progress, but by its commitment to sustainability, equality, and the well-being of all its residents. The city's transformation is not just about the buildings that rise from the ashes, but about the lives that are uplifted, the systems that are restructured, and the social fabric that binds its people together. Gotham as a center for social innovation, shaping a new future. As Gotham continues to solidify its role as a global leader, it must also serve as a center for social innovation. The lessons Gotham has learned about crime prevention, community rebuilding, and social justice can serve as a model for other cities around the world grappling with similar issues. Gotham's journey offers valuable insights into how to turn around a city mired in inequality and corruption, and these lessons can be shared on the global stage. For Gotham, this means leading by example. The city must continue to invest in projects that emphasize equity, community engagement, and innovation. From job creation, to mental health programs, to sustainable living practices, Gotham must lead the way in showcasing how cities can thrive without sacrificing justice or the environment. The city's tech sector, particularly in fields like clean energy and sustainable design, positions Gotham as a powerful player in the global push for climate action and urban reform. Gotham must use its position of influence not to dictate solutions to other cities, but to collaborate, share ideas, and demonstrate what is possible when a city puts the needs of its people first. Gotham's heroes, those in masks and those who fight in their communities, must continue to act as ambassadors of this new vision, helping spread the message of collaboration and innovation on a global scale. Building global partnerships. Expanding Gotham SIP's role on the world stage. As Gotham strengthens its infrastructure and grows in global influence, its ability to form partnerships with other cities, countries, and global organizations becomes vital. The city has the opportunity to move beyond its role as a local defender of justice and become a global leader in addressing issues like climate change, social inequality, and human rights. Gotham's political leadership must engage in diplomacy and international collaboration, forging alliances with other global cities and leveraging its position as a city of transformation. These partnerships can lead to shared solutions for problems that transcend borders, whether in combating cybercrime, addressing economic disparity, or working together to create policies for sustainable development. Gotham has always been a city on the edge. Now it has the opportunity to be a city that defines the future of global urban living. International collaborations will not just be about improving Gotham's standing in the world, they will be about creating meaningful change and offering hope to other cities grappling with their own struggles. Gotham can serve as a beacon of what is possible when communities come together to solve their own problems, using creativity, innovation, and determination. Gotham SIP's commitment to justice, a never-ending responsibility. Even as Gotham moves forward, it must remain vigilant in its commitment to justice. While the city has come a long way, the fight for equity and equality is never truly over. Gotham's system of justice must be continually re-evaluated to ensure it reflects the values of the society it serves. The fight for justice is not simply about punishing wrongdoers, but ensuring that all individuals are given equal access to opportunities, protection, and rights. This ongoing battle will require constant engagement from the city's leaders, activists, and everyday citizens. The systems of power that have kept many of Gotham's communities marginalized will need to be continually challenged and reformed. Gotham must remain a city where the voice of the people is heard, and where justice is accessible to all, regardless of their background, race, or class. Additionally, Gotham's heroes, having seen the city through its darkest days, must serve as reminders of the continued work that needs to be done. The city's transformation may have started with Batman's actions, but it is now the collective responsibility of Gotham's people to carry the torch and ensure that the progress made is not reversed. This will be a never-ending responsibility, one that is passed down through generations of Gotham's citizens and its leaders. A legacy of hope. Gotham Cit's future unfolds. Gotham's future, while undoubtedly filled with challenges, is also one of incredible promise. The city that was once defined by its darkness, its crime, and its despair has become a symbol of transformation, hope, and resilience. Gotham has learned that true strength lies in its ability to face its flaws, confront its trauma, and embrace change. As Gotham moves forward, it must carry with it the lessons of the past, the resilience of its people, the sacrifices made, and the vision of a better future. The city's heroes, no longer just figures in the shadows, now stand as symbols of what can be achieved when communities work together to build a brighter tomorrow. Gotham's future will continue to be shaped by its people, the citizens, the heroes, and the leaders who are dedicated to the city's ongoing evolution. The work will never be fully complete, but as long as Gotham's people remain committed to its ideals of justice, hope, and unity, the city will never fall back into the darkness from which it rose. Gotham's journey from a city steeped in darkness to one defined by hope, unity, and resilience is a testament to the power of transformation. It is a city that has faced its deepest fears, confronted its systemic issues, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable, crime, corruption, inequality, are now met with the collective strength of Gotham's people, who have come together to reshape their city's future. While Batman's legacy will always be a cornerstone of Gotham's identity, the true power of the city lies in the evolution of its citizens. Gotham has learned that justice and progress are not the work of one man alone, but the result of collaboration, trust, and collective action. The new generation of heroes, leaders, and activists will carry the torch forward, ensuring that Gotham continues to evolve, not just as a city of hope, but as a model for others. Gotham's transformation is ongoing. The road ahead is filled with challenges, new threats, emerging technologies, and global uncertainties. But Gotham is now equipped with the tools it needs to face them. Its people are more empowered, its institutions more transparent, and its systems more just. Gotham's story is no longer defined by its past struggles, but by its commitment to a future where every citizen, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to thrive. As the city continues to rebuild, it must remember that progress is not a destination, but a journey, one that requires constant vigilance, adaptation, and the courage to face the unknown. Gotham's future is bright because it is no longer defined by its flaws, but by its potential. The city has risen from the ashes of its past, and its future, though uncertain, is filled with limitless possibilities. In the end, Gotham's true legacy is not just in the changes it has made, but in the enduring spirit of its people, a spirit that will continue to drive the city toward greatness, no matter what challenges lie ahead. Gotham is not just a city. It is a symbol of the power of transformation, a reminder that even the darkest places can be reborn through collective effort, hope, and a shared commitment to justice.